I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Meeting will come to order.
Thank you. Let's see. Whoop. There we go. First up are announcements. I only have two. First is the election. Our election for not only district delegates, but also for the board of directors is underway. That was the main purpose of today's meeting, was to approve the inspectors of election and the revised election guidelines going forward, which was required by changes in civil code. On the district delegate election, we still need, I think, 13 different district delegates. Can't really hold the election for the board without the district delegates because they have to carry the votes forward from their different sections in the community. We'll have an updated listing out tomorrow so everybody knows where we still need delegates and where we have delegates. And then also the election, right now I have one candidate form in. So it says nomination. It's really a self-nomination, and that you nominate yourself when you fill out the application and turn it into the office. And we'll spell that out again later today when we update after the election guidelines are updated. And then it's every time we have a meeting, to slow down. Speed limit's 30 miles per hour on the circle, 25 on the side streets, and 15 in the parking lot. And with that, we'll move on to new business. First up in new business on pages 2 to 3 is a proposal from the activities director for a Valentine's Day event to be held here in the ballroom. Total cost is $1,300, and it does come out of her budget for the year.
I'll make a motion to approve the Valentine's activity in the amount of $1,300.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Valentine's Day event for $1,300. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next on pages 4 through 6 are the applications from Patricia Pendergraph, Kathleen Allen, and Dorothy LeClaire to be the 3 inspectors of election for the upcoming election season. California law only allows 1 inspector, and that would be incredibly difficult for one person to go through 1,800 ballots. So it's either 1 or 3. And so these are the 3 that have done it recently, and they are willing, and the calendar is open to do so again.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Kathleen Allen, Dorothy LeClaire, and Pat Pendergraph for inspectors of election.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the nominated inspectors of election. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next on pages 7 through 28 are section 3, the revised election guidelines. They did go out for homeowner comment. There were 28 comments received that agreed, 1 disagreed. Again, it's required by the new changes in civil code. There really is no choice but to adopt them, otherwise we won't be following the law, and that would be bad.
I'll make a motion to approve the election guidelines as they've gone out for comment with the changes and
Yes.
yes.
We have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the election guidelines that have been distributed to the community. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And then lastly was the Breckenridge Gate access. I believe we settled this in exec. Did the board want to discuss any other items we need? So the board will take over control of the Breckenridge Gate as soon as we can talk to KHOV. It will be sticker access only. The black transponders won't work there because the new reader only reads stickers, and the keypad will have a device put on it similar to Crooked Creek so that codes cannot be entered. So anybody that needs a code would have to go in through the main Potrero gate. Anybody Anybody that has a sticker can go through any gate, and those that have the black transponders can go through Crooked Creek or Potrero.
Are we voting on anything here? There's no proposal.
There's no.
Any board member comment?
No.
Okay.
All right, so then next is homeowner input. As a reminder, it's limited to 3 minutes per homeowner, and only one request to speak for may be submitted per homeowner. Be no sharing or passing time to another person. Homeowner input is limited to 30 minutes. And the first speaker slip is Mary Martin.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. Can you hear me? Is it on?
We're gonna check.
Okay. Maybe it's not on. Okay, thank you. Now you can hear me? Get up to the mic.
A little closer.
Okay now? Yes, I can hear myself now. Okay. Our address is 1677 Lewis Street. And the reason that I'm here, and I thank the board and everyone here for the time allowing me to do this. I think a lot of us have this problem with these trees. They call it the apple tree. I don't know why they call it that, but I think that's what they call it, an apple trees. Those are the ones with the little white tiny flowers. So they're beautiful, right? And I love them. And I like it when they're all those trees and it looks like we have snow. So I already went through the procedure that I was supposed to do. They came over on Friday. The whole group that goes and look at the grounds, and then with the people that from here with them, and I talked to all of them in there. And so, who was there? They said that because the tree is healthy. I said, yes, it's healthy, very healthy. That's not the problem. That's not the issue. But because of after the flowers, they have these little balls. I guess that's why they call it apple trees. I don't know. So they fall. And what a mess. And the thing is that our tree is so close to our driveway that all the winds that we have here, and we know that, it is all in our driveway. I mean, it is full, not just here and there, it is full. And so, therefore, this is my purpose to be here. My husband could not be here, he fell a couple weeks ago, and so he's in bed. I mean, he's just so in pain to even just get up and go to the bathroom. So he could not be here, okay? But I'm here. So when we come into our driveway, and it's such a whatever that we can even, when we want to come out of the door of our cars to get out, we don't even know where to step. We're going like this, and it's like there's nowhere where to step. Because the tree is so close, like I said, to the driveway, that when all those things are falling, and it just, I mean, there's no 1 little inch where they don't fall. So we have the problem. The tires, get it, we go in the garage, it's all over. And the cars are all over, and they're so sticky. They're so stick to the cars or to their shoes and to my doggy's paws or whatever it is. And I know when I walk around Pear and Potter Creek, they have those trees. So my doggy, one already knows, whenever she sees those things, she's ready for me to pull her onto the street. My Chihuahua goes, she breaks, and she goes, why are you pulling me? She don't get it. But again, it's not so bad. They're in the sidewalk. That when they're in the driveway.
Your 3 minutes are up.
So I'm here to suggest that the tree, please, will be removed. Okay? So thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Chris Corbett.
Good afternoon, Chris Corbett, 1586 Stellar Peak. I don't have a problem with dogs. I don't have a problem with the dog park, off-leash area, canine corral, whatever we want to call it. I don't have a problem with Tails and Trails and all their hard work that they put into the proposal for the canine corral. Well, except maybe for the one woman who came up to me after I spoke last time and told me that they were going to appoint me to check for the dog poop every day. That kind of stung. But I decided to do the adult thing and just tell on her. I guess my issue, that was supposed to be funny, thank you for that. I guess my issue is with the Community Planning and Transition Committee for proposing the Breckenridge area and not asking folks who would be affected by that what their thoughts would be. I guess I'm bothered by the picnic benches that will seat 24 people cluttering up the area. I thought it was a dog park being proposed, not a picnic area. Benches are one thing, ugly picnic tables are another. The next thing you know, we're going to have a slide and a playground. And don't get up in arms. I have 11 grandchildren. I'm not anti-children. I'm just trying to make a point. And that point is I don't want it in my backyard, period. I've discovered that most of the folks that whose backyards will overlook the canine corral don't want it either. So NIMBYs, unite. It can have a nice fence. It's still a dirt lot. Poop pickup may be monitored by someone other than me, but it will still smell like rain-soaked dog urine after a storm. You can put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. You can wrap fish in the newspaper, and it will still stink. So that's the problem, what's the solution? I looked all over Four Seasons, and I found the perfect spot for a dog park. It's more centrally located, it has accessible parking, it has mature trees providing shade, it has benches or space for benches, it's over by the old sales office, where that used to be. It's near the RCN parking lot. All it needs is a fence. Has that location ever been considered? Do we know? Don't know? Okay, well, I wonder why. Anyway, what about the large grassy area near the summit? Again, I know it was looked at and then declined. I don't know why. It has grass, it has irrigation, it has available parking, but people resisted because they said the dogs would get in the way of the folks going into the summit. That doesn't make sense. That's off to the side, the door to the summit's here. Why can't we use it? Or why doesn't, well, another reason that I got for that one was that one homeowner threatened to sue the association. So what's the truth about the summit area? Last thing, there's something that just doesn't make sense to me, and maybe it's because I don't have all the info, but I can't seem to find it either. Is the Breckenridge area where the canine corral is approved, is it an environmentally sensitive area or not? Signs are still up, but the Safe Water Act was repealed. So why is it still sensitive? And what is the nature? What is being protected over there? I don't, and now do I have to campaign to say whatever is being protected?
Chris?
What make, yes. What? Oh, shoot. I'll just get to the good part.
Next is Michael Brown.
Hi, my name's Michael Brown, and I live at 1624 Stellar Peak. And I'd like to start off by saying I am a dog owner. And I've talked to most of my neighbors. I know them. They all have dogs also. But I found out by talking to many of them, they don't want to have a dog park in that area. They won't even use it. That is a very big issue, how much use is going to be for this dog. It's not a park, it's a dog corral area, I'm sorry. I have concerns that I wish the board would look at, or the HOA, as you may call it, that the canine corral is going to start up by breaking the rules that is already laid out. The rules that are set forth that the off-leash committee had adopted and it was approved. I know they've done a lot of work on that. It is well written and well done, but it states clearly that nobody can enter into this dog canine control area without a fob. So they're going to start up without having any gate control. So that means that anybody can come into that area. There's going to be no control. That is a very big issue to me. They could at least come up with an idea of using locks where people are issued keys, because everybody has to register to get into this area. A key would stop some access by unwanted visitors. The back gate at Breckenridge, as people exit out, the gates are left open for about a minute. people come in, they can walk in, they can bring their dog. They can bring a pit bull up there or any type dog that's aggressive. So we should at least have keys issued at the very least. Otherwise, who's going to stop them? Is some elderly person in there with a dog going to say, halt? I don't think so. Also, I heard it stated at the last Tuesday meeting with the steering committee that there's about 1,000 dog owners in this area, which would probably add up to about 600 or 700 homes having dogs. Most people have two. So I'd like to really know who's going to register, how many's going to register, what percentage of homes would that be that is supporting this, because eventually somebody's going to have to pay for the operation and maintenance of this facility. And who's that going to be? The association?
Thank you. Our next speaker is Barbara Morton.
Barbara Morton, 276 Box Springs Trail. I am for this dog park. I have looked forward to it since they first started talking about it. It's convenient. The one in Oval Park is not convenient for me to drive to. And I feel that a lot of people in my neighborhood are really for it also. I have got 4 neighbors right around me that all have dogs and all want to use the dog park. When the lodge was built, you didn't have everything that you have here now. You started out bare bones. That's what the dog park is going to start out as. Then they will be doing fundraisers to get other things, shade structures, whatever, grass, but it takes time. We will not be going to the HOA and asking for money. We'll be doing it through contributions by homeowners. And I am sure, besides myself, there are many that would like to donate to this. The $15,000 to donate for the fence. It's obvious that somebody really wants the dog park. Somebody made a comment on next door. They hoped that they had big dogs at the dog park because of all the critters that are around. Well, I hate to say this, but I have seen and know of people that have dogs, little dogs, which are easy to get, leave them outside, and they take off and go to the store or do whatever. The other morning, my neighbor saw a bobcat climbing up on its fence and looking down into another neighbor's yard because there's a dog out all the time, and they know. Pet parents that will be going to the dog park will be very responsible. They will be very diligent watching out for large critters, small critters, what have you.
Okay. First of all, I'm not against dogs. I love dogs. My son's a disabled vet and has a service dog that takes care of him. So I really, really do love dogs. But I am objecting to the placement of the current dog park as proposed. First of all, let me state my name is Joe Lar, and I live at 1606 Stellar Peak. My home directly overlooks the proposed dog park, and I'm greatly concerned about the placement for the following reasons. Initially, I paid a large premium for my lot, having been assured by K-House representatives that the ecologically sensitive area in the rear of my home would never be developed. The assurance was based on the fact that the ecologically sensitive area, that wildlife would be free to roam as they had for centuries, and that any runoff that was not naturally occurring would have negative effects on the water quality and wildlife downstream as far as the Santa Ana River and the Pacific Ocean. As such, any proposed development of any kind would require specific approval of the Corps of Engineers. I don't know if that's still true, but if it is, I'd like to see that specific approval. It's my understanding the dog park's been funded by a one-time payment from K-Hawk. As such, it would appear that there's no ongoing budget. to maintain the area, including security, liability, mitigating the runoff and leaching of pet urine and feces into the groundwater and the adjacent environmentally sensitive areas. It also appears that this would be the only community facility that would not require the use of a fob to gain entry. If so, this situation lends itself readily to abuse by our outside neighbors. I also want to know who's going to be responsible for cleaning up the inevitable pet waste that we should be sure to be left behind with its associated views and odors. I've been told the cleanup will be on a voluntary basis. If this is so, then based on past experience of voluntary cleanup after pets within our community, a voluntary effort will be unsuccessful. One only needs to look around our community. There's many, many dog owners that are very responsible, but there's many that are not. And all you have to do is look at our sidewalks, our pine areas, and our community lawns to see proof of that. If past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior by some of these unresponsible pet owners, then the answer is clear to me. So I'm truly against the park where it's being placed. I think there's better solutions, and I think a little bit more thought, a little bit more time, rather than rushing through it just because somebody gave us some money would benefit us all. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Susan Nicholas.
Can you hear me? Yep. My name is Susan Nicholas, and I live at 1610 Stella Peak. My backyard, and indeed my entire view from my great room, kitchen, and bedroom, overlook this proposed dog park. It's approximately 40 to 50 yards from my yard. Originally, I thought I would be speaking here today to enumerate the many reasons that I think this is an unsuitable area for a dog park. But it seems like that decision has already been made by the board. But I still need to voice my objections, and perhaps this decision could be reconsidered. First of all, I understand that there are many dog owners in this project that would like to have an off-leash area for their dogs, and I'm not unsympathetic to that. But I think the board needs to weigh the wants of the dog owners against the rights of the property owners. I am referring to our right not to have a nuisance and an eyesore built adjacent to our property. When we bought our house, the sales agent explained about the future construction across Breckenridge and about where the roof lines would be. And she pointed to the green, lovely natural area below our yard, and she stated that this is an environmentally protected area and will, of course, remain unchanged. So unlike the dog owners who were never promised a dog park, homeowners were promised a national buffer area adjacent to their property that would remain unchanged. Now I have a question for the board. If I want to say put lights up above my garage, I need to fill out a form and have 2 neighbors sign off on it and then give it to ARC for approval. And I like this idea. It protects my property values. It prevents me or my neighbors from putting up something that's ugly and would not fit in the neighborhood. My question for the board, and this isn't a rhetorical question, by the way, I'd like you to answer it at some point after I stop speaking, is did you fill out an Exhibit B, and who signed off on it? Okay, what gives you the right to build an eyesore and a nuisance directly below my property? Will negatively impact my property values. Now, I hope this is not a done deal, and you will reconsider. The verbal promise I was given by our sales agent may or may not hold up in court, but I hope it doesn't have to come to that. But you have to know that you do not have the right to build a nuisance and an eyesore over the objections of the impacted homeowners. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jackie Morris.
Hi, I'm Jackie Morris. I live at 1602 Stellar Peak.
Lean in.
Go up.
Lean in.
Just
Speak louder, Jackie.
well, okay. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. I live at 1602 Stellar Peak. My house will look down on the dog park, sort of a catty corner way. My main concern about the dog park, to be honest, is the smells, the accountability as far as people actually doing what they say they're going to do, which in most cases doesn't happen. We've learned that just by taking our dogs out for walks. I have 4 dogs. They're all little. They're over 13 years old each. And I don't take them out anymore. I keep them in my backyard, in my house. And when I go out to the backyard at night, which, by the way, is 3 or 4 or 5 times a night, I watch and make sure my light is on, and I look for other animals because we can have other animals. Last night I went out about 9:30, 10 o'clock. This was after I talked to several people in the neighborhood about what was going on. And one of the things I noticed, it was very quiet, it was dark, I could hear the creek, I could hear the frogs. Believe it or not, there are little frogs down there in the creek. And then I thought about all the things that happen in spring when the baby rabbits come out and we see them when we're walking our dogs around. We also have an egret that shows up usually once or twice a month. And the ducks also come back. So I'm becoming a little concerned about all the different things about our environment. I don't know if an environmental study had been done or anything else. I was not told that a dog park would be in my backyard when I bought my house. I had many choices. I like it because I have the view of the mountains, and everybody around me is excellent as far as my neighbors are concerned. And I told my daughter, I'm never moving again. I do not want to move again. But this is one of the things that causes problems. Is my property value going to go down? You know, $20,000? I don't know. Is somebody going to tell me that I don't have the right to go into the dog park if I want to go in the dog park? At this point, I wouldn't. You know, my dogs are too small. I did go online. I did research. And one of the articles I found from NBCnews.com was the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it talked about dog parks, the good parts, the bad parts, and the ugly. Right now, that dog park, as proposed, looks like the ugly. And I'm real concerned about that and how it's going to impact our whole community, not just where we live, but everybody else. Where are they going to park? They're going to park on our street? I have one parking place out in front of my house. Who's going to take that? You know, I understand why everybody's here, and I do believe that dog parks are good for some people. But I just don't believe that where it is supposed to be put is in the proper place. Thank you.
Back to Lynette Smilak.
Part of what I want to talk about is the dog park. I used to take my dogs, as well as a lot of other people, to the dog park in Highland. But it was a city park. It was not as close to houses. And let me tell you, those dogs can be noisy. Yes, I have 2 dogs and I love them. But sometimes you could hear at the dog park the dogs barking. I'd even say half a mile away. There is that area that's like the flood control that maybe have somebody look at that again and get maybe whatever permission through whatever agencies. That would be a much better location, as long as there was access to that. It is kind of sunk down below, because the parking, as somebody mentioned, there's absolutely no parking there. There are people, it's going to exclude people from being able to go to the dog park, because of the fact they have what if they parked at the carts, that they would not be able to walk that far. The other issue, I think people hit it, communication, and getting input from people that might be affected from the noise, and people mentioned the smell. And I have another issue with communication, or why things take so long. I was on the board where I lived before. To have blue tarps on roofs, why did Does it take so long? Okay, we gotta fix this, and then get quotes. I know that everything has to come back to the board. I was on a board, but it should not take 6 months or a year. I think another issue, the Breckenridge Gate, that was gonna happen in a couple weeks. No, it hasn't. Again, why are things taking so long? Said the dog park. I'm trying to remember what I put down on this sheet. Do you have my sheet, Eric?
Dog park, shades, lights, roof.
Oh, the lights, again. Well, I talked about the roof, the lovely blue parks that you can see when you're in the game room. Why is it taking so long for the lights on Four Seasons Boulevard to be fixed? Thank you. I see my time is up.
Thanks, Lynette. Next is Joe Mead.
Good afternoon. My name is Joe Mead. I'm at 1630 Stellar Peak. I'm here to speak in my opposition to the dog park. I wasn't aware that there was a dog park proposed until the picnic tables were dropped off. My patio was about 150 feet from where I don't know where the boundaries of the dog park are going to be, how far down they're going to come. But I'm opposed to it anyway. One thing I can see for sure, I know there's a lot of people that have dogs and don't walk very well, and I'm sure there's going to be some people that want to drive to that location to where their dogs can use that park. And I can see where that could be a parking problem. I see a nice location, I don't know if it's been considered or not, but there's a location that where Green Creek intersects with the main street. Yeah, the circle, right. It's already green belt, looks really nice. I don't know if that's a location that could be considered, but there would be parking there on that utility easement for the people that don't walk well. I didn't really have anything much prepared for this other than just to lodge my opposition to the park in the way that it's proposed. Thank you.
Thank you. And our last speaker is Joe Lara. Okay. Well, with that, no further business. The next board meeting will be February 13th here in the ballroom at 1 p.m. Is there a motion?
If you can give me a second, the most important thing that I don't know why I left out, my husband is a veteran, he's 100% disabled. He cannot be coming out and stepping out in full, his balance is very bad, so I'm very asking to consider this street, please, and to replace it in another area.
Thank you, ma'am. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.